With just 11 months to go for the 2025 presidential election in our country, many political parties have actually started making preparations, discussing with stakeholders, forming alliances, and coming together to see how they can endorse one another for the top job. However, with these on the way, Cameroonians of goodwill, especially those in the northwest and the southwest region, whose origin from the West Cameroon and the then southern Cameroon, they'll be asking one simple question: when are we going to have an Anglophone president in a nation that is bicultural and bijurial, in a nation that two separate states came together in unity with diverse culture, with one vision, the vision of promoting moral responsibility, the vision of ensuring that growth and development is felt, the vision that the tribe's culture of each individual is respected, the vision that no language or no party is bigger than another, as that vision which the discussion started at the Fumban conference, then migrated and migrated and migrated as of the 1st of October 1961, riding now to 2024. Within this time frame, we've had two presidents. In fact, we have had just two republics. Of the two republics, those manning the republic have been from the east part of the nation. However, many Cameroonians are now saying that, is it not time for us to now give the opportunity for those within the West Cameroon to see how they too can become the commander-in-chief of our nation, and see how they, in their own culture, can move the nation forward such that we can have diversity. Diversity in itself is good. It's good for the nation. It's good for living together. Diversity itself is good for harmony. Diversity itself brings people together to see how they share a common value and foster national unity. From 1961 right to 6th November 1982, when the Second Republic took over, right till date, we are counting close to 62 years or 60 something years or so. We have just had just this republic. Now, looking at all these polemics, however, the question is, will the position of Prime Minister only reserved to an Anglophone, whereas that of Commander-in-Chief of the nation not rotate to a Francophone? Some lawmakers have started having this discussion to see how constitutionally it can be in a rotating manner, such a way that if it is coming this time from this side, it should come from this side. Because whether we like it or not, that is the only forum or magnet that can bring together, living together, and cement the harmony within the nation. However, this dream can only come true when these opposition parties, especially those from the western part of Cameroon, those from West Cameroon, I'm talking about those from Northwest and Southwest, can come together and form a strong coalition in such a way that they cannot lobby those from the eastern part to see the needs of an Anglophone president, as the Guardian Post have been carrying up headlines which state that is it not time for an Anglophone president. The second editorial of the Guardian Post over the week, which the Guardian Post streamlined that the presidency top job, Anglophones should not compromise. Whichever party, whether it's coming from the ruling party, if they can give Cameroonians an Anglophone candidate, regardless of wherever they come from, I am sure it will be a good thing that come 2025, this discussion should now be a discussion of lingering. But however, when and how shall we be having an Anglophone president? This is House of Commons with me, Tah Javis. Happy Sunday to those of you watching us from different parts of the world. I want to seize this opportunity to wish you Anang Dorothy, who celebrated her birthday last week. A very, very big happy birthday to you, Miss Dorothy Anang, who is also out there, out of the country. Happy birthday. May the good God continue to guide and protect you, and may He ensure that all that which you've been praying for come to fruition. And I also wish happy birthday to all those of you celebrating your birthday this October. As we are counting to the last Sunday of October, we pray that God should continue to guide you. And we also want to wish a happy Sunday to you, Mr. Nyam Robert from the United States of America, and your wife Joan and Kelia Myra, and all the fervent viewers of My Media Prime Television. Today we are looking at two concrete topics. The first topic we will be looking at with Biya's return. Can a united opposition do the magic? Can a united opposition do the magic? And the second topic which we shall be looking at is that of the Guardian Post newspaper that talk about presidency top job. Anglophones should not compromise. We have our panelists who are already here in the studio. One is still to make his way to the studio. I'll begin by introducing to you the Secretary General of the Populous Action Party, who is all the way from Yaoundé to attend this program. Mr. Jini Elvis is someone that has been vocal, looking at the issues of Cameroon and fighting to ensure that the rules must be respected, and that in areas where the rules are repugnant to natural justice, they should be amended in such a way that a Cameroonian should feel like a Cameroonian irrespective of which part of the nation he or she found himself to be or herself to be. Jini Elvis is someone also that has been contributing effectively in the promotion of quality education across the nation and fight hard to ensure that our educational system should be a competent-based approach, which should be an education of self-reliance in such a way that those who are trained as education as learners should be able to produce tangible issues rather than just reading and writing and chanting the song "Who Discovered River Niger, Mongo Park." Jini Elvis, happy Sunday and thanks for joining us.
Thank you, my brother Tah Javis. Thank you very much for inviting me. I must say it's been a very, very long time ever since I last was present on your platform. And so I want to use this opportunity to thank you for the opportunity, for the invitation. I also want to extend special greetings to my co-panelist. I will not announce him before you. I think it's the very first time I'm meeting him too on a platform one-on-one. We've never met before on any platform. And I would like to also extend warm greetings to all viewers of this wonderful program, House of Commons, on My Media Prime. And to say, though it's been a very long time, I'm back, and I just want to believe that I'm back to stay. Like you've rightly said, Mr. Tah Javis, each time you give us an opportunity, we can always seize it to see how we can contribute our own ideas to see into it that our country continues to forge on. Unfortunately, the system is the way it is, but we cannot give up.
Thank you very much. The next panelist is someone that has been fighting very hard to see that our economy, our judicial, our political, economical landscape stand to meet up with the existing reality. He believes that we must go back to the root cause of the problem of Cameroon and solve it in a unique way. Not just the way that it should have been, but a way that meets the current context. He has been fighting so hard for those who are unjustly incarcerated as far as the ongoing Anglophone crisis and other issues crimes are concerned and other issues are concerned. He is someone that has dedicated his resources to fight for the voice of the voiceless and has represented several Cameroonians, spending his own money to make sure that they have freedom and also they enjoy freedom. He believes that justice should not only be served, but justice should be seen as to be served, and he knows and he holds with firm value that he who goes to equity must go with clean hands. And that's why he has always been chanting the song that we must look at the judicial system in a way that it should be accountable to the common man, and that the common man should be able to have justice irrespective of how rich, poor, short, fat they are. They should be given equal opportunity and equal justice. And that's why he says that he is advocating to become the president of this nation. That if he becomes that, he's not just only going to focus on the judiciary, he has a key economic policy, a policy that will be able to encourage agriculture and give allowances and allocations for citizens to go and produce at mass in such a way that we can now become a major export nation that exports and create more jobs. And also his economic policy that the banks take loans If you are unable to pay this loan, the bank should not confiscate your property. Rather, the bank should take the property and use it and recover their money and give back your property that you should take and continue with your business. Without that, he believes Cameroon cannot move forward and is open for any coalition as far as the 2024-2025 presidential election is concerned. He is the national president of the Reform Party, Senior Barrister Ashu Emmanuel. Welcome and happy Sunday, Siseko.
Irena. Thank you, Tah Javis, the polyglot. It's a pleasure once again to be here, especially in company of Mr. Njine. I've been seeing his write-ups and his activity. A special happy Sunday to all Reform Party members and sympathizers the world over. Germany, England, the USA, we salute you. A special happy Sunday to our very able Northwest representative, a very able Southwest representative, very able East Province president, and the North and Extreme North presidents. Thank you, Mr. Tah Javis, for the very brilliant introduction. We believe that this country will not be saved by some angel from heaven or by some European who will come here as a godfather. It's going to be saved by Cameroonians, and we want to take the bull by the horns, make sure that this country gets out of the heavy indebtedness into which the CPDM regime has plunged it, make sure that economic prosperity comes back to the tables of Cameroonians, make sure that the type of macabre scenes of torture we have been seeing in the social media should never again occur in this God-given land of ours, where people are hospitable, where people don't look for trouble. But we are unfortunate to have torture masters who hide, because the people in power don't know that these people are doing this type of things. So, Mr. Tah Javis, thank you for giving us this opportunity. Any person who is a victim of torture, please don't hide it. Come out and contact any lawyer. Torture is a crime, it's a felony. Come out and contact any lawyer. Justice will be seen done. Don't be afraid of anybody. If you are tortured and you have evidence of it, please come out and you will see what will happen to these people who think that they own this country. Cameroon belongs to all of us. There is no person who is a better shareholder than the other. We are all Cameroonians. It is our nation. We have the right to live in this country in peace. We have the right to seek justice in this country. We have the right to stand before justice without fear, because when somebody is tortured, like we saw Longe being tortured, and how we saw we did the party being tortured, and what we know of was this torture, we think that that is not the right way. This regime has surely outlived its usefulness, and we call upon you, like Mr. Javis said, it's remaining 11 months. Know where to put your vote. Vote the person who can bring you change, who can put this country back on the rails.
Senior Barrister wanted us to look at the news-making event within the week before diving straight to the topic. Our key issue is the issue of the image of Longe that went out, which we all saw. I know you have briefly talked about it. I want you to now just officially react to it, as far as you are a senior legal counsel, and also keep aside the legalness of you. You are also a politician and a father, and also a senior statesman. When you look at the image that came out from Longe, this is something that happened in 2019. What does it remind you? This is someone who probably has not, within the context of Anglophone crisis, was not accused of being a separatist or supporting the separatists. If this person can be tortured that way, those accused of separatist separation, what could be their fate?
Mr. Tah Javis, it will shock you to know that what Mr. Longe went through is just the tip of the iceberg. Almost all the units in this country do what you saw. Go to judicial police. I have had cases where I have written to the state council to protest. They were using cutlass under his feet, to hit under his feet. There are others who use small hammers to hit on the shin bone. Torture. Look, when they take any person to any of those units and say they are locking him up, just know that what will happen is at night he is going to undergo torture. The case of a co-bank robbery in Bonaberi, we have a whole colonel who told the Court of Appeal how he was tortured. I mean, this thing has no limit.
A colonel.
A whole colonel, I won't give his name here because we're not supposed to divulge that in public. A whole colonel told the Court of Appeal how he was tortured and gave the names of the people who tortured him. So you can imagine, who, if a colonel can be tortured, who is Longe?
And if Longe can be tortured, what of the common man?
Thank you. If Longe can be tortured, what about a common man? So you see, it is a canker worm that is embedded in the system, and unless you know, and also you come into contact with it, you will think that it's coming from outer space. I'm surprised to see how people stand up and they are crying. But please go to the units and see what is happening. Go there and see what is happening. There are people who think that, look, I have a case where somebody called a lady and wanted her to help him import goods from some foreign country. This woman helped him. The goods were put in the container. They asked him to give money for the transportation. He said no, it was too expensive. He prefers to wait when the transport cost will fall to make the goods come. Now he goes to the one of these their units here, gives them money. They come and carry this woman. She was coming from the shore. They only allow her to put on a kaba and carry her naked, no pants, no breastwear, lock her up for 3 days. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine that? A woman locked up in a dirty cell for 3 days, no pants, no breastwear, and forced after that to give 3 million francs. You see, it is every day we are seeing these things. So it is a major defect in the judiciary. A major defect. It is high time the people up there dish out firm instructions, because the criminal procedure code is clear. The penal code is clear. Whosoever touches another, if it even causes death, you will be sentenced to death. So I mean, I don't know why you continue doing this nonsense. They think that because they are in uniforms and they have the opportunity to record statement, you are asked to record somebody's statement. How does the permission given you to record somebody's statement transform itself into permission for you to determine life and death? How? These are criminals. These are criminals. So as I was saying earlier, if Longe, because I don't want it to look as soliciting, if he wants to seek justice, he should contact any lawyer, any criminal lawyer, and he will see what will happen. We know what to do. We know where to catch them. Hold them by the ball so that they feel the pinch. So please, it's one of the reasons why we think that this CPDM regime has failed this country and should pack its things and go. We are ready to put in place an independent judiciary that will function on rules that cannot be twisted.
Okay, we're coming back to you.
I come back to your question. Yes. What about the people who are styled separatists?
Yes.
Whether you are a common law thief or a political prisoner or whatnot, it doesn't matter. The rules of investigation are universal. You are not supposed to torture somebody. You shouldn't. If somebody is brought to you, you say a man is a separatist. Okay, if he's a separatist, therefore the offense he is going to stand trial for is terrorism. Terrorism is a common law offense. So you should conduct that investigation in accordance with the criminal procedure code, which does not give room, it does not permit torture. So I don't know, even under the military justice code, torture is not permissible. I have brigade commanders who have been convicted for torture. So it is something that should be eradicated from the judicial system. And the only way you can eradicate it is by applying what Reform Party proposed. You see, because the law tells you that the state council is the director of prosecution. But in practice, the state council stays in its office and orders police and gendarmes to investigate. Why don't you go to those units and take judicial police officers, put them in the state council office so that any person who has a complaint brings it there? Let these people record his statement, and then the state council will decide on the spot.
Yeah, we'll decide whether to
on the spot.
The person or
that one will avoid the torture. You see, it will avoid the torture. But so long as you ask police and gendarmes to continue investigating in their units, you will have people being kept in cells, you will have torture, you will have extortion of funds, you have all the vices people are complaining of. So that is the reason why I think Reform Party proposal is one of the best in this domain to stop people from suffering unduly.
Okay. And Ginny Elvis, Secretary General of the Populous Action Party, you had watched the video of Longe Longe. Your reaction?
Well, I think I can but say it's deplorable what we saw in that video. And I think since then, many other videos have come up, yes, some that we have seen before. And so sometimes they come just as a reminder.
And many may still come up with this.
Many may still come up, and we even encourage that if people have some of these videos, they should let the videos come out. And just like my senior barrister was saying, I would simply want to encourage Cameroonians to say that whenever they are victims of such torture, they should not keep quiet again. I think it is time for Cameroonians to get to the right quarters. And when I say right quarters here, it is not going back to the same police people to report to them, since they are the people who torture. On the contrary, get to civil society organization leaders, get to political party leaders, meet other responsible people in the society to whom you can table your issues, and then they channel you to the right persons who can be able to follow up your situation and see into it that justice is meted on these people, or that they are brought to book. You know, I will tell you, Tah Javis, in one of my poems that was published, I said in one of them there that these people, these uniform officers who go torturing, I call them state protected criminals, because they are trained by the state. They torture people. The state sometimes knows of them, but they keep quiet as though nothing happens. And that's why you see many of them can continuously torture people on a daily basis. Because when we talk about Longe Longe today, 2024, when he was tortured since 2019, I don't want to think that within the same services that they were not informed of the torture that was meted on this man.
Or he did not complain to somebody.
Or that he didn't complain to somebody. I don't want
who
to
kept quiet.
So. When today you see them issuing high instructions as to let there be investigated, yes, it is just because there is some sort of pressure now coming in from society, and we know, of course, how high instructions sometimes end in this country. They will make some little noise about it, and at the end of the day, you discover that nothing is being done. So I just want to encourage Cameroonians, if you are a victim of any form of torture, whether physical or psychological, from any uniform officers, they should try as much as possible to get to some opinion leaders. They now can challenge them to the right quarter in case they do not know lawyers to get in contact with. I want to think that Cameroonians today have more than ever before gotten to a point of consciousness where people so badly need change in this country, and that change can only come through our collective action as a people. Secondly, I want to invite Cameroonians as a whole to understand that we are one another's keeper. We should not see what happens to A and we lukewarm about it because, well, it was Longe Longe and I keep quiet. You wait until maybe it happens to you before you start imagining what he went through. Just like Senior Barrister said, and like you quoted, if we see what happens to Longe Longe, a popular artist, that we do not really reproach of anything, and he himself was not really actually accused of anything per se, then you can imagine what our brothers of the Northwest and South have been going through.
Probably what Wazizi went through,
accused. Of course, Wazizi and the Martinez Zogos, they paid an ultimate price for it. They died. Longe Longe was maybe just fortunate, you see. But you can imagine what our brothers are going through on a daily basis, many of whom are accused of crimes they have never committed. Some, their sole crime just being the fact that they come from the Northwest and Southwest regions.
Or they know somebody.
Of recent, we saw another video where they tortured someone, I think in Du, where he kept insisting, my brother is Amba, yes, I don't know where he is. But they insist that he must tell them where the brother is, and he's being tortured mercilessly. You find them hitting everywhere, even on the chest with machetes, just because his brother is a criminal, and he knows not about the brother's whereabouts, and he has to pay the price. I don't think that is the way justice is supposed to be meted on people in this country. The fact that you and I are close friends, the fact that you and I are close brothers or blood brothers, doesn't mean that if you commit a crime, I should be the one to pay the price.
Yeah, because criminal responsibility is not shared.
And if I'm to pay the price, torture is not prescribed as a means of investigating situations. So I think that at this particular point in time, we may want to invite some of those uniform officers who are still humane, who are still conscious and will not go to that extent, to they themselves help Cameroonians in exposing some of these situations, and then call on Cameroonians as a whole, the common people who are the day-to-day victims, that they should, as from this date, stop being silent about these situations. If something happens to you, try as much as possible to get to a lawyer. Try as much as possible to meet leaders of the civil society organization. Try as much as possible to get some political leaders, and you table their situation, and then we see how we can.
You know, it is now that Cameroonians are getting to understand what Longe has been posting since after 2019, because many were mocking at him.
They said he had changed camp,
he has crossed carpeted, that he has been bored. They did not know what he was going through.
You are very right. We have seen some who have already come out in their write-ups or in videos apologizing to him. You see, but you know, with the way things happen in our country, Longe is an artist. Some might have been right to think that he was just like an artist trying to get some gumbo, as we commonly call it in Cartier French. But with the videos, people now understand exactly what he must have gone through. And like I say, Longe's case is just like the senior brother said, a tip of an iceberg. As to what others have gone through, Wazizi, for instance, being
till now, nobody has seen Wazizi corpse. It has not been released.
And of course, we remember that investigations were ordered under high instructions.
Yes.
Until today, nothing has happened. So we are saying, even with the case of Longe, we need to get to a point where the system in place will need to act under pressure from Cameroonians as a whole, without which we shall always receive these high instructions, and at the end of the day, nothing concrete comes out of it.
Okay, thank you very much. Let me take on this message. Greetings and special salute to my greatest Siseko, as you said, our able lawyer who is fighting for the people. Good morning once again. This is Moi Nevis, Dr. Naf, writing in Balikumbat village in Kitunja division. And I begin this time around the program with you, Senior Barrister. Senior Barrister, let us also now look at this issue, which many Cameroonians have been actually talking about. And when we're talking about the issue, we are talking about the matter which is before the Cameroonian people in terms of 2025 presidential election, and many are still confused. Many are still very confused as far as that is concerned. But let us just look at the first topic, which is President Biya's return, and can a united opposition do the magic with just 11 months to go? You have said you are open and willing for discussion on a possible coalition, and without no precondition on the table.
Thank you, Mr. Tah Javis. I don't know where I said that. I've always stood my grounds and said that Reform Party is ready to do it alone, because the tenets of coalition are rising up to the reality that it is not feasible in this country. You have so many parties that belong to CPDM. There are many who are partners to CPDM. There are others who are allies of CPDM. There are so many. So when you come now and say you want to make a coalition, who do you know you are allying with? It is difficult to determine an angel just from the face. Until you go into discussion and into activity, that is when you will know who is who. Who would have imagined that one of the BB parties that are very vocal on many platforms stand up and say their candidate is Biya? I don't want to call names, but you can imagine. They've been here several times. When they talk, you think that as you are leaving, fire will start burning. But their leader went out to say they are happy that their champion has come back. Biya is their champion. So you see, if the opposition wants to do the needful, we need people to be courageous. Let us stand up firm. The idea behind a coalition is that SDP PAP is strong in Division A. USDP is strong in B. Nobody is strong everywhere. That's the idea. But that is a fallacy, because there are parties that are everywhere. A Reform Party is everywhere. I don't see why I should go begging for coalition with somebody. Because you are in Ngoketunja, that does not mean that I cannot be there too. You don't have any land title in Ngoketunja to own the place. No, it is open ground, sir. All we need is courage and the resources to go down. If we have the resources and we have the courage, we will know what to do to go down. You say it's only 11 months. Sir, I will surprise you. This thing is like a marathon. A marathon is different from 100 meters race. So you want to start running when it is 11 months before the due date comes. What will be a physical state? So we should be careful. Reform Party is going to have 6 months of campaign. Mark my word. And when we start, you will understand that somebody is campaigning.
So, senior barrister, which means that you are of the opinion that a unity is not something that can do a magic, that your party can go solo and still do the magic.
Thank you.
Now, with the current reality of Cameroon, can Reform Party beat this reality?
Thank you, Mr. Tah Javis. With Cameroon's reality, you have seen that the people who have come up to say they are creating coalitions, they have met their doom with the public when the public asks them, what are you offering? Okay, you are forming a coalition. What are you offering? They have nothing to offer. Do you make a coalition just for the purpose of coming up with a coalition? What are you offering as a solution to people's problems? Nothing. Even those who say, we want an Anglophone candidate. Oh, yes, good. It is not because a candidate is Anglophone that he will just stand up and people will clap for him. I don't want to sign name, but that answer came from mature politicians of late. They say no, it's not because we want an Anglophone to be president that any Tom and Dick will get on and say, I want to be candidate. You must have something to offer. You must be a presidential material. If they give you this country, how are you going to handle the form of the state? How are you going to handle the constitutional problem? Because we have one. We have one. How are you going to handle the judiciary? How are you going to handle the economy? How all the ambits of society. Come up with action. Let the people see. People are going to vote for you out of conviction. It is not because of love. There is no love in politics. Politics is a game of interest. Now, I give you my support. How are you going to how are you going to satisfy my needs? That is the question. It's not because you are Anglophone. We should stop thinking that Anglophones are going to beg Francophones to vote for them. We should stop thinking that it doesn't exist. The Anglophone will be president, will be a person who will win the Cameroonians' hearts. And you can only win the Cameroonians' hearts when you have something to offer. Start from your person. Who are you? If you are a crook, you are not to be a crook. Don't waste your time. Nobody will vote for you. If you are a straight person, every person knows that, yes, this man is straight. That is already a plus. If you have a clear-cut plan of action that tells the people where you are carrying them and tells the people that this is a man who can deliver, then they are going to vote for you. So I think that the answer to your question is that Reform Party can do it alone. We don't need to go begging people. We are open to coalition, yes. Any person who has good ideas should bring them. Let us look there. I will not say that our ideas are the best, are the only ideas. Others may have good ideas, bring them. If your ideas are good as us, we can work together. But nobody should tell me that this part of the country is well implanted there, I cannot come there. No, that is not possible. We shall go to all the nooks and crannies of this country and make sure that we get the votes. 26,000 people in the polling station, that is no magic. What you need is the resources, the money. And I bet you we are coming up with that.
So, Senior Barrister, before moving to Mr. Njini, we have more than 26,000 polling stations. I think it should be around 33,000 polling stations in unit, including this sub-unit, which means that your party will need approximately 33,000 representatives.
No problem.
We have the number of procès verbal. And we also want to look at also the stateness, because you know the ruling party has its way of also doing things, the stateness of it. I think so which means that you are stating that you have what it takes to maneuver these state machineries.
You see, many people think that what the CPDM does cannot be done by others. If they can do it, I can as well do it. Don't forget, I am not intimidated by all that. If they can do anything, I can as well do it.
Okay.
All it takes is resources, and if I have the resources, then they will meet a mature tiger on their way.
Okay, Mr. Njini Elvis, Secretary General of the Populous Action Party. I don't know, you had listened to Senior Barrister. My question to you is, with just 11 months to go, can a united opposition do the magic to outsmarch or to remove the current party? Or should we also state that we are going to still have the same CPDM continuation come 2025?
Mr. Tah Mai, I've listened to Senior Barrister talk. He has said so many interesting things. What I would rather say here is, beginning, if I go back to 1992 with the SDF, we saw the determination on the part of Cameroonians to change things at that time. But we all know what happened. And I want to tell you that from 92, 2025 is appearing to be another year where Cameroonians are even more than ever before again determined to see power change hands. But I will not go in line with Senior Barrister when he says what the CPDM does, any other person can do it, because it is not often that easy to, should I use the word, uproot, to undo, to keep aside a system that has been in place for 63 years, a system that has put in place every other measure to ensure that things are being done to their favor, a system that goes even as far as using state institutions to their own favor. You see, and everywhere you go to, you certainly find someone who is directly appointed or kept there by the regime in place to ensure that things are being done to their own greatest favor. Remember that sometimes in this country, when we talk about the political calendar, we like to remind that sometimes in this country, Mr. Biya alone actually masters that calendar, in the sense that it is when they have done things and they are comfortable with the situation, they now tell that elections will take place in the next 2 weeks or something of the sort. What am I saying? 11 months to me is more than enough time for the opposition to do something in this country. Even in less than 11 months, it can be very, very possible for the opposition to do things in this country. But the question is, whom are we actually referring to as that opposition? When we talk about opposition here, believe you me, Mr. Tah Mai, we should not only limit opposition to political parties. It is true we have close to 400 of them. And like he rightly said, many of them are allies or satellite parties to the regime in place. But now, the few genuine opposition parties that we may know of, they need people. They need the masses. And this mass we are talking about is part of that opposition to the regime in place, because Cameroonians are fed up with what is happening in their country. So when we talk about opposition to me today, I no longer limit it only to the political parties, because political parties, the role they are supposed to play now is come up with someone that they can project to the people, tell them that, okay, all of us are against this regime, all of us are opposing this system, let us rally behind this person, he will be the one to deliver. And I want to think that that one person origin has been found. Because in June, in the Southwest, when the Popular Action Party, when we organized our convention, I want to think that we were one of those who clearly made it known to the public that we announced our presidential candidate, who is the national president, but we made it clear that if there were to be a consensual candidate, and an Anglophone candidate to that matter, we will go for that person. You see, and
so your coalition was only limited to the fact that if it is an Anglophone candidate, then you form a coalition.
Let me answer. Your question goes back to what Senior Barrister was trying to earmark. That it is not just any person who is an Anglophone who stands up. Talking about a consensual. Consensual means that you are not just Anglophone, but that you have what it takes to be able to deliver. That's the first thing. Secondly, being not just an Anglophone, but the fact that when we go back, even by virtue of how the two Cameroons came together, like you mentioned already at the beginning of this program. We want to think that it is time that someone from West Cameroon too is given the opportunity, or that West Cameroonians are also given the opportunity to bring onto the table what they have as a people to be able to contribute to nation building. 63 years, just one part of this union, or one party to this union has been ruling. We have seen, and when we say one party, we have had two heads of states, and the two of them are of the same system, because Mr. Biya only continued from where late Ahijo left, you see, and of course 63 years after, the nation is in an abyss. Let us now give room for someone from West Cameroon to bring onto the table
with a proven character.
That is it. And like I say, it is not just about any person who is an Anglophone from the northwest or southwest. Someone has what it takes. Someone has the metal. You see, and of course, on the 28th of September of this same year again, after the convention in June, we organized a press conference during which the party univers of Professor Kumvondo announced Senior Barrister Keromuna as their presidential candidate, and of course, we endorsed that candidacy. I want to think that if we are talking about an Anglophone in this country today who can change situations, there is no better person than Senior Barrister Keromuna, because like Senior Barrister himself was asking here, if you want to talk about someone who masters the institutions and the functioning of this country and who can take over power and know where to touch, I think that Senior Barrister Keromuna is very, very close to this, to understanding the system, knowing how it functions, and knowing exactly what it takes to be able to bring about change in this country. Secondly, if we want to talk about someone who has the metal, I want to think that nationally and internationally, he has all what it takes. But to come back to your question as to whether the opposition can do something, I still want to say, Mr. Tah Javis, that 11 months to me are even many. The problem here is people should gain consciousness and get to understand one thing. What we need in Cameroon is someone, and Cameroonians should be able to understand, if we desperately want the change like I see Cameroonians want it, it is no longer even a matter of whether the president is an Anglophone or a Francophone or where he comes from. It is a matter of people trying to keep aside their ego, people trying to keep aside their personal interest, and working for the general good of the nation. Like Senior Barrister said, which I will agree with him, if every political party has its own ideology, you see, if we want to go per ideology, per political party, we may never agree. But if we are talking about a coalition for change for this country, believe you me, there are areas where I want to think that every serious political party will agree on. One, democracy, human rights,
energy,
justice, economy. If we talk about educational system, energy, those are areas where every serious political party or party that will agree with you that in these areas we have issues. So we can form a coalition centered around these issues, you see, and then we see how we can work together to see how we can change the nation. Let's not forget about let's talk about the form of the state, for instance. Some may be for a confederation, others are for a federation, and I believe that when it comes to the form of the state, a time will come when we shall throw it out to Cameroonians, and they will be the ones to actually decide what they so want. Because the PAP is a federalist party, for instance, but we shall not impose it on Cameroonians to go back to a federation. We shall not be the ones to impose it on them whether it will remain a two-state federation, or we go for a 10-state federation, or maybe more. You see, so when the time comes, we put it onto the table as a debate. The people maybe vote it out and they choose what actually is good for them. By that time, every person comes onto the table and gives, by virtue of arguments, why you think that a federal system of maybe just 2 states or 10 states is better off than what we actually do live. But talking about a coalition, I still want to think that any political leader in this country today, any member of civil society organization, church leaders, individuals, business people who still think that they cannot go from a coalition for this or that reason are people of bad faith, are people who are struggling to legitimize Mr. Biya's stay in power after 2025, but it will not work. Because like I say, to me the greatest opposition are not the leaders themselves, but the masses that they have. And the masses are desperate for change in this country. So I want to think that the role political leaders are supposed to do, opinion holders, is to facilitate this coming together. We should facilitate the coming together, canalize the actions and aspirations of the people towards a common direction, and then let them see reason why they should vote for a particular individual. 11 months to me, I say it is too much. Why? Imagine 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 only, or 9, maximum 10 political parties of that we can call genuine parties. Their leaders coming out with civil society organization leaders and some church leaders and announcing to Cameroonians that this is the person we think can deliver. Believe you me, Cameroonians will follow. Because Cameroonians themselves are conscious that the close to 400 parties we have, more than 350 of them are close allies to the regime in place. And of course, we know that there are some, even that when we talk on paper, 350, you may not even see them on ground. We don't even know the party leaders. There are some who don't have political parties, but they long forget that they have one. So the few that we have, they need to come together, go towards civil society, go towards church leaders, go towards some influential, independent voices that we know of, opinion holders in the society, and then together, I think we can harness the people, bring them together, and we tell them that this is the person we think can be good for this nation, and the person will be able to deliver. And like I say, I think as of now, Senior Barrister Akeremuna has what it takes, be it nationally and internationally. And I say, let me tell you, Mr. Tah Javis, I talking here as an individual, believe you me, I can go in as presidential candidate. It will not be impossible for me to change things in this country, but it may be difficult. But when we talk about someone like Senior Barrister Akeremuna, why I talk about him? Because he is someone who has worked close to this system for a long time, and he masters how the system functions. And secondly, he's a man of integrity. Because sometimes I hear people pose some questions, then I ask them, if you take Senior Barrister Akeremuna as an individual, for instance, what do you reproach of this man as a person? What or where have you seen him go wrong for you to want to think that maybe by virtue of integrity he doesn't deserve to be the person to bring change to this country? On the contrary, all his years of service, he has proven someone who is loyal to the nation, not to a system.
Okay.
He has proven to be someone who loves the country, who is fighting to the best interest of every other person. And like I said, I want to think that opposition, or let me call it the genuine opposition leaders, we should simply keep aside personal interest. We should simply keep aside ego, and then look at those areas where we have common objectives that bind us together, and we work based on those ones, some of them which I've cited here, and then together we shall see the change come in 2025.
Okay.
Even if the elections are anticipated, we are going to meet.
My very brief question before moving to Senior Barrister to you is that do you think that a single opposition party can win 2025 presidential election?
Sincerely speaking to you,
looking at the reality,
sincerely speaking, in this country as of now, I will say no. I don't see any political party in this country as of now that can single-handedly want to tell us that they can cover all the 10 regions of this country, campaign for election in this country, and beat the regime in place. Because like I started by saying, the problem is, it is a deep-rooted fraudulent system that has been in place for 63 years. Because I am reminding that the 43 years of Mr. Biya are a continuation from where Mr. Ayicho left.
Okay.
So it is a system that has been there for too long, and unless you are someone who is from within, and even being from within, you will still be combated from people from the same system too. Because there are guys in the system who are diehards and will do everything to make sure that power never changes hands.
Okay.
So the best thing we can do is go for a coalition. And this time around against Tah Javis, it is not what we politically are deciding. It is what the common people are asking for. If we are politicians and we say we have political interest, our interest first is supposed to be the interest of the nation and that of the people. And the people are calling for a coalition. They themselves are not fools. For you to come up and think that Cameroonians as a whole who are on the country, they don't know what they are doing.
Okay.
I don't think so.
Good day, panelists. I wish to plead to Senior Barrister Ashu to join the coalition. With him among the few, we are going to catapult this nation to a positive change. Mundi Romanus writing from Biya. This one say, vote or not vote, Paul Biya will still win because he appoints the one who declares the result of the election. The first thing we have to fight against is the electoral system. Coalition will not still do anything if the same electoral system is maintained. I think I will just briefly react on that. This message is coming from Stanley. Stanley, to say that because the president is the one that appoints the president that reads the election, it means that the president will always win, is not true. Nigeria in 2015, Goodluck Ebele Jonathan lost to Muhammadu Buhari. Ebele Jonathan was an incumbent, and the member of the INEC, Independent Election Board Commission, was appointed by Ebele Jonathan. The same thing happened in Liberia. George Weah lost. Moved to Kenya, where the same thing happened in Kenya, where President Uhuru Kenyatta, who was outgoing, brought in his candidate, and also his candidate did not win. And also in 2017, when Uhuru was also an incumbent, in 2017 when Uhuru was also incumbent in Kenya. He appointed the chairman of the Independent Electoral Boundaries Commission. Their own is IEBC, Boundaries Commission. The person ruled against him, and they went to the Supreme Court. Chief Justice David Maraga, who was appointed by the president, nullified the election, that the election was not conducted in conformity with the rules and the constitution of the nation. And it also happened in Botswana, and it has been happening. So to say, I think Cameroonians are used to this excuse. That's why I never wanted my panelists to just highlight on this. I wanted to give you clear-cut examples that this excuse is not an excuse at all, because it happened in recently in Senegal. The Senegal is an example where SAR was going out. SAR's party, who is an incumbent party, ought to have won the election because the Constitutional Council was appointed by Macky Sall. But the opposition won. The only issue is if Cameroonians have the numbers. It's the issue of numbers. If you have the numbers, then it becomes impossible for that election to be rigged or to be announced, because they will look at the population and they were afraid that the nation, no matter how wealthy you are, you will not want a nation to plunge into chaos, because if the nation plunges into chaos, you will not enjoy your stolen wealth. Senior barrister, let me come back to you. Or maybe I just take on the other message before coming to you. That message got me so off my feet, because I don't like those excuses are not an excuse and all. Greetings to you in the house. Nice program about I am Early Divine writing from Limbe. I want to say the difficult thing that will ever happen in this country is that an Anglophone will never be able to rule this nation as a president because of the system that has been planned for decades. But if I want to give my opinion on who is best for the presidential office, I will prefer senior barrister of the Reform Party, because he has a lot of good things to offer due to the way we have been following him on his project and pronouncement. This is Ella writing from Limbe.
Thank you. Yes, sir. You see, listened with interest to the development made by
Mr.
Njini. And I had the impression that he was drifting towards the statement I made earlier on. In a certain Francophone forum, somebody said, it's not because we want to give power to an Anglophone that you just go carry an independent candidate and bring in and tell us that this one answers everything. The election is not about personal capacities. You see, we are talking politics. What does a political party offer? What does a candidate representing that party offer? Okay, yes, you are somebody who has integrity. You have been moving to places. Correct. Now, how are you going to solve corruption, unemployment? How are you going to create jobs? How are you going to handle the economy? I've gone through the 8 points proposed by my senior colleague, my learned senior. If you take those 8 points and put them side to side with Reform Party manifesto, you try them out. What is 8 points? Can you summarize Reform Party manifesto even in 20 points? I mean, you go down to the root of things. A country cannot be reduced to 8 points. This is a country that has to be restructured from A to Z. From A to Z. When I start talking about judiciary, you realize that this is somebody who knows something about the judiciary. If I talk about the public service, you know that yes, this man knows about the public service. So we want to put to the population a plan of action. We are not projecting people. Let us put a plan of action. Look at what happened in Senegal. Sonko was in front. The regime in place tossed him aside. He sent Jomai Faye to continue with his plan of action. That is what we are talking about. If you were to remove Senior Barrister Ashu from the Reform Party, another person will take over and push that agenda forward. Because the agenda of Reform Party It is not limited to Anglophones. You see, look,
and should not be limited to senior barristers.
Reform is not limited to senior barristers.
We are not about limiting.
No, please allow me learn. You see, the Reform Party manifesto is neither limited to a person or to a party. It is for the entire nation. When we talk, we say we are all over the nation. Now, the difference between a Reform Party and the others is that Reform Party is a national political party headed by an Anglophone. You are not going to bring an Anglophone candidate to say, come and join people. No. This is a national party on the ground, and its leader is an Anglophone. So, the rest of the country is not going to vote for the Reform Party because their president is an Anglophone. No. They are voting for the party because it has a good plan of action. Look, let me remind you that on this very channel, I brought information here that we cost 3,000 militants of CPDM to resign. It was published here. 3,000. Just to show you what we are capable of doing. If we can shake them in the hearts of the president's area, 3,000 resigning, then you can imagine what we shall do when we start campaigning. We are not started. Let us start. Then you shall. I want to meet you after we have started. Then we shall talk and say who is on the ground, because it is not on TV platforms that we campaign. The campaign is on the ground. I cannot tell you what my boys are doing in the field. I can't tell you what they are doing on the field, because we are braving it. We are doing almost the impossible. Where people think that nobody can go, we are there. In areas where people say the people say we don't want anything, we are there, and we are doing very good. So in these other areas where there is no opposition, what do you think that we are going to do? Let us wait. You have your candidates. Wait, let us start our own. Let's start our campaign. I don't know in which part of the country Univer is, which part of the country is covered by Univer, but let us start our campaign, and we shall see how Univer will come and meet us in the field to tell us that they have a plan of action that is better than our own. Now, when you talk of the form of the state, earlier on before this program started, I was talking about the problems of Nigeria. We were all clapping when Nigeria came up with so many federated states. But today we saw Nigeria crumbling under the strikes that were organized nationwide for food. People don't have food to eat nationwide. And I say that type of thing should not happen here, because we should not go back, as he was rightly saying, we should revisit 1961, but not on the same footing as 1961. You will be surprised if I put our own solution to the table, because we stand for at least a 20-state federation, a confederation in this country. Confederation, not federation. Because had Nigeria had a confederation, it would have taken 36 incompetent prime ministers for the whole nation to be affected by a food strike. Now that they have a federation with a strong federal government, if the president is not economically strong, it affects the whole nation. So we are proposing something which will enable Cameroon have powerful confederated states.
Okay.
Powerful confederated states that are going to help the country compete.
I want to ask you this question. You talk about the fact that Reform Party, as it stands now, will not go in for a coalition, because Reform Party has what it takes to cover the entire 330-something thousand polling stations, and can be implanted and has been implanted everywhere. Let us look at the manpower in terms of those who probably will have the stake, like the Social Democratic Front, which means that without the Social Democratic Front, MRC, PCRN, Reform Party can do the magic. Now, with a party that has councils and also members of parliament that currently they have structures already with people who think that if their party is not there, they will lose what they have to eat, will they be able to allow Reform Party to take over their council? Like SDF has numbers of councils. SDF has about 200 councils. You move now to the same thing like PCRN, you move now to the other like the UDC, you move now to Univer, you move now to almost these political parties that have councils. Do you think that Reform Party will have what it takes to actually remove these councils from these people who are already implanted, who may easily prefer somehow to come together and become a strong coalition and fight against Reform Party?
Thank you, Mr. Tah Javis. You see, the question made me to giggle a bit, because you give me the impression that when I go to the noon, I will see UDC everywhere. We are in the noon. We are in the noon. If you could visit our office, I will show you documentation. We are in the noon. I can even call them and you will hear from people on the ground. Look, you see, the fact that UDC has been winning election doesn't mean that they control the population. No, at all. You see, in the noon you have this clash of a family, clash within a family. One family controlling the whole place. They say the Sultan should not be seen to have political control. So the Sultan's brother's wife has the political control. Do you think everybody is happy with that? No, sir. There is room for everybody in the noon, and we shall shock them. For presidential election, we don't need councils. When you go down to the street, you are talking to people. You don't talk to councillors, you talk to the population straight. You see, our strategy is a simple one. We are going down to the grassroots to combat the people, to contact the people directly. I don't see why I should pass through any councillor or any mayor to go to the population. No. I'm a free citizen of this land, and I have the right to talk to any person I meet. So I don't think I need any person's permission to enter anywhere. And I only gave you appointment the day you hear that we are announcing our candidacy. Then you should watch us and see what shall be done, because we have our plan clearly mapped out. We are building up the finances that will carry us to where we are going, because that is the essential thing. You need the finances. I don't think any political party in this country will be able to match us. Don't bother. We shall get the money and you will see us in action. We are not playing. You see, there's no need making announcements for things that you cannot do.
Okay.
We are waiting for the right time, and when we announce, you will see Reform Party in action.
We'll come back to you. Greetings, journalist Tah Mai and the panel. I would like senior barrister to also comment on the numerous amber torture on civilians in the northwest and southwest. How can they be prosecuted? Thanks from Albert in Biya. This one, right, it says, those who don't want coalition are those who want us to remain in this present situation. Pius writing from Biya. Good afternoon. And this other one says, greetings to you all in the studio. Nice program. My appreciation to your dress code in today. The opposition without a coalition can do nothing to the government in power. This is Tanje Amos writing from Edea. This other one, right, he says, greetings to you guys in the studio. Nice program. I think without a coalition, we are just boiling our beans. I will appreciate those parties that have gone into coalition, because you mentioned the number of polling stations that we have. Mr. Javis, let me be very honest with you. If you look at the total number of polling stations we have, we need something like in 1992, where parties are represented and can be able to take over polling station without being bribed. But with the current system, I doubt if Reform Party will have the money to actually pay their polling agent not to be compromised by the party in power. So to me, I think Reform Party can just join a coalition or be open to a coalition such that we should see that we can have an Anglophone president. So without that, there is no hope for the Anglophones. This one, right, it says, my lovely brothers on the set, I greet you all. I greet you all. Let all the opposition parties go in as one, including the civil society, before they can face the CPDM and succeed. Without that, let us forget about election. And my greetings to everyone there in the studio, and particularly the senior barrister Ashu. As a Cameroonian who desperately want change, we plead on every genuine opposition parties to keep their individual interests and ego aside and bring us a solid coalition that can bring a change in this Cameroon, because I believe coalition is the only thing that can dismantle the CPDM regime. Hamza writing from Bafusam. And Mr. George says, my lovely brothers on the set, I agree to all. Let all the opposition parties, including the civil society, come together. This one, right, it says, the case, please, Mr. Senior Barrister, the truth is that when the uniform officers are with guns, where the guns has no control, we have no right in this country. So no freedom of speech until power change hand. The case of Cameroon is different. Please, in Cameroon, they don't vote. They are all appointed leaders in this country. I can quite remember in 2011 presidential election, SDF won in my polling area, although I voted for CPDM, but the result was declared there that CPDM won, meanwhile we voted CPDM not up to 15 votes and SDF was more than 200 votes. That is when I know this country has a big problem. Now, to analyze this, let people counting the vote in Cameroon should be the member appointed by local supervisor from the list of nominees, but put forth by the party involved in a single party, like the case of Cameroon. But you should know that all those who are counting, all the parties have representative at the polling station counting the election. Hi, Mr. Javis, it's Martin Bright Ayole writing from Biya. I love the program. It is very interesting. This one says, greetings, Mr. Javis. An Anglophone from the ruling party cannot change the situation of this country. Can a coalition from opposition party unite and choose an Anglophone from civil society as independent candidate? There are many independent candidates out there who do not belong to any party but are interested in ruling this country. The barrister is right. Being afraid of coalition. Are they fighting a common fight? Ngala writing from Biya. Good afternoon, greetings, panelists. I think the opposition is just being wicked to Cameroonians. They don't want to unite and fight against the ruling party. They keep on making speeches with no action on the ground. We can't win with this division spirit. We need people who are willing to sacrifice for us. Dixon Niba writing from Mututu. This other one, right, it says, good afternoon, Mr. Javis. I am impressed with the contribution of the panelists. In Ken Bertrand writing from Biya. From the numerous messages, it's like many Cameroonians are of the opinion that coalition is a magic. But Senior Barrister is clear that he doesn't just believe that coalition is a magic, but he believes that a single candidate who masters all what it takes to transform Cameroon, that Cameroon's problem cannot be limited to 8 points.
Mr. Tah Javis, I'm happy that you are reading the messages. I said here already before that as political leaders, we are not actually going out there to impose our own will on the people, but we are going out there to see how we can let the people live their aspirations through us. Because when they are out there, they look up to us to be able to lead them and permit them live their dreams. You see, and like I said, and I will repeat again, and I will get from the messages, I have said the issue of a coalition in this country is Cameroonian political leaders, civil society need to submit to the demands of the people, and the people want nothing short of a coalition. But now, if I come back to the issue of what to my senior barrister. Now, the question I could wish to ask, if I were the one to ask him questions, I would like to ask is, okay, let's presume that the Reform Party is the only party with the best political project, social project they have to sell out to the people. Why not open it up for others to also come in and form that coalition? Because when I hear Senior Barrister insisting on the fact that he is everywhere or his party is everywhere and they will not go for a coalition because they can do it, I still want to say one thing. We are talking about presidentials here. And when we talk about presidentials, we are talking about a game of numbers. And no political leader, no coalition, it's like in business. If you take MTN Cameroon, MTN will never want to risk losing a customer or deal, but they have millions of them. On the contrary, they keep devising strategies to get more and more customers come on board. You see, so whether you are alone and you have all the people already, or you have 90% of them already, or it's a coalition with 90% already, the truth is that we need more and more people on board to keep swelling up the number of persons who will vote on the day of elections. And that's why, like I said, We of the Popular Action Party, we had made the stance clear. We are into a coalition, and that coalition has been created already, and the coalition remains open. You see, Union for Reconstruction, it remains open for all Cameroonians to come on board, such that even if somebody has just one extra vote to add into that coalition, that one vote is welcome. We don't want to care who has 1,000 votes where, who has 1,000,000 votes where, and who has just one somewhere. We want all the votes to come in on board with the coalition. So, Mr. Tah Javis, I will still say here, the regime in place has a rigging mechanism, a rigging machinery that will not be easy for an independent, for an individual in terms of party.
Okay, if I get you, it is possible, but it will not be easy.
No, but it is even it is possible anyway. It is possible, but who is that, or which is that political party that today has that stamina to be able to come together? Because like we said, the problem here is when you already have 3, 4, 5 political leaders, the votes are divided. At the end of the day, A will have 5,000. This person has 500,000. This person has 1,000,000, and then these guys can easily play with the numbers and they come up with 2,000,000 votes for themselves. But if all these 5,000, 500,000, 1,000,000 were brought on board, at the end of the day, no matter how they try it, if they come up with their 2,000,000, the coalition will still come up with 2.5. That is what we are saying, and I still repeat, that is what I think Cameroonians are fighting for. We should make sure that we do not disperse our votes, which are going to be many, but now give room for that one individual to sneak in between the votes and then come up with a figure that declares or proclaims him the victor for the day. So I will still want to call on my on senior barrister here to say, well, the Reform Party, it is their opinion, but we are open for all Cameroonians to join, and I keep insisting to Cameroonians that we should not be fooled to think that when we talk about opposition today, we are limiting ourselves to political parties. I say, Engineer Elvis, I see opposition today as every single Cameroonian, every independent Cameroonian, whether you are into politics or you are not into politics, or you are into a party, or you are into civil society, or you are just an independent, everybody is an opposant to the regime in place, and so we should all try to find ourselves in the same boat, such that on the day of voting, our votes are channeled against a common target, which we all know, and then we see how paths will not change hands in 2025.
Greetings, House of Commons. Please tell barrister, senior barrister, that we already have candidate Akeremuna. Please, barrister, we respect you a lot. Can you join this coalition such that it can be strong, because you two have a great following, so that we will not have a divided vote.
Join me. Don't bother.
Okay, senior barrister, let me just take another message before I come to you. This one says, good afternoon. I just think there is only opposition coalition that can do the magic, as your topic is stating. Believe me or not, whether we like it, SDF alone cannot do it. So senior barrister should just know that it is only when they come together as a force. If not, they will have just divided vote. Senior barrister, you say the Reform Party has a clear route map to win the election. How is that going to be possible?
I hope you don't expect me to start telling you what what strategies we are putting in place, because that will not be possible. Now, I have the impression
the willing party can do.
I have the impression people are trying to appraise our activity before we even make any declaration. Let them wait. The day I say wait for us, the day you hear that we are announcing our candidacy or our candidature, you will understand that a giant has come up, because all that talking they are talking is a waste of time. When we shall stand up to say Reform Party is starting its campaign, I will invite people to come, because then you will see what campaign is.
Okay,
I know you people are forming coalition, but excuse me to inform you that you are all going to join us.
Is your party open?
You shall come to us, because they shall come to us. They will come to us, because if we go down and get the people, who will be behind you? We shall get the people, and there will be no one behind you. No, I'm telling you.
You
are relying on coalition. I am telling you that we are going to the people, to the grassroots. Okay. We shall get to the grassroots, and after that I will ask you now to come to coalition.
Let's just briefly look at the second topic, which is still in line with the first topic, the issue of compromise. Senior barrister, you are of the opinion that the Reform Party has a strong manifesto, which the manifesto is on the issue of whether it's but Senior Vice Ashu is there or not, it is the manifesto that should speak. Now, the issue of Anglophone the issue of presidency 2025, the Guardian Post came out and said that presidency top job 20 Anglophone should not compromise. I want to ask you this: if the CPDM party produced a candidate which you see that has the character, the moral, will you endorse that candidate as a party?
A party that has been unable to do anything for 42 years. A party that has brought this country to it's not even his knees, on his stomach. The country is lying down on his stomach. We're only waiting to be pushed into the grave. You say the party will do what? Come with the candidate. That candidate will come and do what? Let me remind you, CPDM is a party that has no paper. Legally speaking, it's a party that does not even exist. How they manage to be in power is another mystery. Because they are in power, they can allow their candidates to join to compete without the necessary documentation. My answer is very simple. I can never join that type of party. No, one day.
I was going to say,
because
about endorsing.
Let me tell you, legally speaking, after Mr. Biya, CPDM will disappear, because it's a party that is not legalized. They don't have a plan of action. So you are going to bring an Anglophone candidate within CPDM to come and do what? To come and continue with the same thing that their presidents have been doing for the past 42 years? No, sir. The solution to this country's problems can never come from CPDM. They have thrown us. You see, they took the country that was at peace, that was in peace. They have brought us war, and the economy is down to such an extent that we really need a superhuman effort to bring it back to life. So CPDM should forget. It is not a matter of bringing an Anglophone candidate. It's a matter of bringing solutions to the problems of Cameroonians, and CPDM has no solution. So my answer is a very clear one. My party can never join that type of party.
So, Senior Barrister, you are telling us that in all fairness, it's not whether it's an Anglophone candidate or not, as long as the person should be able to meet the aspiration of the people?
Yes. Yes. On the one hand, you see, 63 years is too much for one brother to rule, and the other one sits there looking. That is one part of it. The other part is that there is this grievous injustice that has been done. You have two states that were supposed to come together. There is no formal document of coming together. One state decides to dissolve the other, and that has caused trouble. So don't you think that it is time for that issue to be resolved, so that that historic grievance be cleared from the table?
Okay.
It is time.
Engineer Elvis,
no, well, I'm not done yet. Now, you see, the difference between Reform Party and the other parties is that we are not looking only at the Anglophone, the Southern Cameroons versus Republic of Cameroon. We are saying that today, Cameroon is a nation. Let us see how every corner of this nation should be happy. I will shock you by telling you that if I am president, I will not maintain Southern Cameroon as one state. I will not, because Southern Cameroon, if you maintain it as one state, what it will get will be smaller than what the others will get. Because if you create 20 states, the other Republic of Cameroon will have 19 states. Then South Cameroon remains one state. They are cheated. They will be cheated. So you have to carve out many states. The prime objective is to make development come to the people. We should not remain on foolish historic backgrounds. There was a state, yes. So because there was a state, we should remain one state. If you say you are carving out 3, 4, 5 states, where is the disadvantage? Where is the disadvantage? Come out with as many states that can enable this place to be developed.
Okay.
So that you have many decision-making centers. Just as we want to make the rest of the regions become states, so that the development should be very fast.
We are almost out of time. And Ginny Elvis, this issue of Anglophone presidency, should they be compromised, or you tie with the Guardian Post that they should not be compromised?
it's not a matter of time with the guidance post. I think the guidance post ties to what we already announced even during our convention already, and the fact that we already announced, already endorsed a candidate already. And I just wish to say here that it's not about tying down to one state or two states. I said something here before that when it comes to state issues, the form, for instance, I said the people will decide when the time comes. You see, because even if you maintain one state, I don't see it is not room. It doesn't mean that they must be cheated. Like Senior Barrister says, if you want to create many states so that they are not cheated, when you create, let's just presume that you disintegrate the former West Cameroon into 10 states. It means that the other 8 regions will also disintegrate them to many more states, so there will still be many more than the others. So much will still go to the other people. So I don't think it's a matter of the number of states that determine exactly who gets and who doesn't get what. It's about the system you put in place that permits the people to be able to feel that they are one in the nation. Now, coming back to the issue of the Anglophone president, I want to say, Mr. Tah Javis, that the issue here is that one, we must recall that we were 2 different states that came together, and that for 63 years, it is time enough that at least power be given to the other part of this union, so we also see what they too can bring onto the table. It is not like claiming that only an Anglophone will be able to transform the country overnight, but let them also be given their own chance on the table. Secondly, when you come to think of it, that even in this same union, from 1961, initially the Fumban agreement was such that if a Francophone was president, an Anglophone should at least be his vice. But you discover that fraudulently they did everything, and an Anglophone Cameroon has never, in fact, as of now, I think he's about the 4th or the 6th personality in the country. Which means that if we go by the present dispensation, there is even no room that if things continue this way, an Anglophone should ever aspire to become head of state in this country. That's why we are thinking that if an Anglophone takes over power, first, we are doing them justice by virtue of the agreement that brought the 2 countries together. Secondly, we also believe that even the war we have today in the Northwest and South is partially because of these injustices that our people have lived for 63 years, and that an Anglophone will be better placed to understand the cries of the people and propose tangible solutions to this particular situation. You see, now let me tell you, as a teacher that I am, go and find out in schools that they call bilingual schools. When you go into the Anglophone subsystem in a school that is called a bilingual school, for instance, in the eastern region of Cameroon, you realize that 80% of children you find per class are from Francophone background. Why? It is because they understand that it is a system that is far better off. But unfortunately, officially, nobody wants to openly admit to that fact. So we also believe that an Anglophone president, by virtue of the education that we have, by virtue of the culture that we have, can be able to bring back some sort of sanity, some sort of morality into this system where corruption has become the order of the day and has gangrened the country into where it finds itself today. Okay. Those are some of the reasons why we strongly stand by the fact that an Anglophone should take over power. It is not just picking anybody Anglophone and making him president. Okay, because you ask about the CPDM. If you bring out someone from the regime because he's an Anglophone to be president, I am not sure the PAP will ever identify itself with such an individual. Okay. Because even when you come back to the Anglophone crisis as it now stands, tell me which Anglophone elite, which Anglophone president within the CPDM has ever outrightly come out to admit that truly there is an issue in this country that requires that we be handled. The Prime Minister. No, my brother. We had young Philemon that moved to the northwest and southwest region. We had also Chief Dr. Joseph John Gute. It is time. It is time for us. Mr. Tah, let me tell you something. There is a difference between coming out to make a public utterance and then the reality on ground. When they make such utterances, and now by virtue of the offices that they hold, what concrete actions do they take? It's a matter of the system. Minister Paul Atanganji has also acknowledged that there's a crisis ongoing in the north and south. We are talking of an Anglophone who will come up and put in place institutions that are autonomous, put in place people who matter, who when they tell that truly there's a problem here, you see them working towards resolving that issue. Not just openly making public statements and at the end of the day, they go back to function just the same way like the regime has been functioning. How many southern Cameroonians today are dying behind bars? Well, I'm talking the presence of a legal man here. And like I said before, there's some crime being the fact that they come from that part of the country. Okay. Because many of them are accused falsely. We're out of time. The way the time actually went there is not 1 hour 30 minutes is always gone. Senior Barrister, we're out of time. Thank you very much for coming. If you have 1 or 2 words to talk to the electorate, what would that be?
Well, the electorate knows that they have to vote for some person who has to better their conditions of living. We should also remember that it is not because you are an Anglophone that the entire Cameroon will vote for you. You have to deserve the vote. And it's a matter of you putting forth somebody who will get a national vote. Don't say, I have this man. Get the national vote. And for you to get a national vote, you must be on the ground. You are not on the ground, don't dream of having a national vote. For the time being, only Reform Party has the national vote.
Okay. Jeannie, if you have one word for the electorate, what would that be?
What I would simply tell the electorate is that they should not give room or give in to any form of distraction. Every single Cameroonian should identify itself with the Union for Reconstruction. That's the coalition put in place, and together as a people, when we come together, change will come.
Thank you very much for your participation. I'll take on these brief messages before we go. This one is this is not the first time these oppositions in this country are joining coalition to change this country. Now what I want to say is that whether we like it or not, coalition or no coalition, there is nothing that will change in the ballot box. This other right, it says, may God bless you all there at the studio. Whatever we are doing, whatever we are saying, whatever our intentions are, they should be embedded in the love for our country, Cameroon. Bonwi Jonathan writing from Bambili. This program comes up every Sunday at exactly 12 to 1:30. Rebroadcast this same Sunday at 10:30. You can follow us on our YouTube channel, My Media Prime TV. You have this program uploaded to the YouTube channel, My Media Prime TV. And also, you can get to us on the number on your screen if you want to be a panelist, you want to talk on the issues, so that during the week when we publish a topic to be discussed on Sunday, if it is in your area of competency, you indicate, to invite you to come and share your opinion. Some of you have been sending us messages that, no, why did you not invite this person? Why did you not invite this person? We want to invite you. If you think you have the voice for nation building, why not? I want to thank you, Senior Barrister. I want to thank you, Ginny Elvis. We apologize for the other members of panel who are not here, who have not come. We don't know why. And we leave you. We want to thank you, Desmond Akiba, Elvis, and also thank all those of you in the studio who took our time to produce this program. As I always say, no matter the matter, what matters is your matter. And what should matter this Sunday is that you should stay out of trouble. My name is Tah Javis Mai on Cameroon's commercial capital, Douala Fengu John Bange. Until meet again, stay out of trouble. Bye-bye.